Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully this is working properly. I wanted to introduce myself. Let me start my timer so I don't go over time. See, it says started at 30 minutes. By the time 15 minutes is up, I hope to be done, because massive studies show that most people don't want to watch a video more than 10 to 15 minutes. Even though there's 40, 50, 60-minute videos on YouTube, you have to be really, really interesting. I don't know if I'm that interesting on a video without interaction from people. Those of you that come to the classroom, you'll find that I can be pretty interesting, I hope. Hope I don't have to dance on the tables to keep you awake, because part of being involved in a class is participation. So it's not all about me, it's also something about you, which is another reason why I'm using this format. So, good afternoon, my name is Frank Plunkett. I know at Peirce we're very formal, so Professor Plunkett. I am coming to you from my home office in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. It's in the process of a little renovation, so I might have a better backdrop for you in the future. And I got to get rid of the sun coming in that window in the back, so I need like a drape to make this better for recording. But I'll be coming to you probably once a week from this venue in an update. Some of the updates might be done right from the classroom after class. Some updates will be done in the middle of the week, just because it seems for some folks it's easier to listen and see what's going on via video than to try to read all the text on the screen. So I want to welcome you to the class. This class, hopefully you're in the right class, CJS322, Probation and Parole, where we'll be studying the ins and outs of probation and parole. The first week kind of is an overview of the criminal justice system, where we have to figure out where probation and parole fit in. So when you're looking at that first assignment and it says create a timeline, I'm going to give you some more information on that pretty soon, because the instructions are not the best, I don't think. So I'm going to help you with that. But that's in another text or video to come. I want to tell you that I'm coming to you via a program called Zoom. The website for this is zoom.us. I would encourage you to check it out. A lot of instructors are using it as a way for students to post videos, maybe your course project if you wish to post it for other people to see. A lot of different things that make this a really cool tool. The other thing that makes it a cool tool that I want to definitely mention is I will be doing from week to week live meetings. You can actually make a live meeting and you can record that meeting on a Windows machine or on a Mac and a variety of other platforms if you wish, if you choose to use it later on. But we will be using it as a way for those of you that can't come to class or will be taking advantage of the FIT format to meet and chat with me and the other students. My intention is to have a, say, 20 to 30-minute meeting at the beginning of every on-campus class. So probably like 5:45 in the evening, we will turn on the meeting, and those of you that want to come can come. As you can't see it here, but each meeting has an identity. I will create the meeting. I will send you a link to the meeting. All you have to do is click on the link. It'll open up your browser. It's going to download a little tiny file, Zoom file, that allows you to participate, and then you just have to follow the instructions on the screen and participate. I will also post in the course after this one a instructional video on how that works so that everybody's on board. And I'm going to do that week to week. So I'm going to post probably in this meet and greet, since it's our very beginning, the link to the weekly meeting, and I'm going to use a recurring meeting, so it'll be the same one every week. And I will post the video on how to use Zoom, so how to log in. It's very simple. If you're not creating the meeting, it's very simple. All you got to do is click. It takes you there. Boom, you're there. All right, so that's what we're going to do week to week. Like I said, 5:45. If I get an overwhelming response from people that say 5:45 is, say, too early, you didn't get home from work yet or whatever, we can push it back. I say 5:45 because I want to make sure that all the people coming to campus for the 5:30 class are there, so that you all can interact. And basically what we'll do after the first week, will probably be a review, like I usually do at the beginning of class. I do a review in that first session. So that's what we're going to do. So the other thing I wanted to let you know, to be prepared for those of you that coming to class, and certainly if you're going to participate online, and some of the discussions, I'll post another discussion thread. I like to do current events in class every week. This is a headline from today's Inquirer, and of course, you know, our president and the political stuff always seems to be ahead of it, but if you notice, there's also a court case from the senator from New Jersey, Melendez, that's on here at the Supreme Court. And there's one about those of you that live in Philadelphia. There's some stuff going on with the mayor's fund under the past mayor, and they're fighting back and forth. But what I like to talk about in the very beginning of class, say in the first hour, one of the first things I start off with is current events, and that preferably criminal justice related current events. If you can find something that talks specifically about reentry or probation and parole, that would be even better. I would suggest that all of you take a look. There's an article in the Philadelphia Inquirer in the Monday edition on reentry and local ShopRite hiring people that are out of prison and trying to help them. It's a phenomenal article. There's actually two articles. One's in, I believe, section B, and the other one is in the business section. Pretty much about the same thing, but from a different standpoint. And it's directly related to what we're going to be talking about, probation and parole. So take a look at that. If you don't get a paper, they get newspapers in the school library. If you come to school, you run up there. And if you get there early, or one day you're there, it doesn't have to be the same day we have class. Check one of the papers, make a copy of it, or you can look online. Philadelphia Inquirer's website is philly.com, and you can hit the Inquirer and get whatever online content there is. I actually have a subscription, so I can get in more depth in the online version, but that's one way of doing it. So being prepared. So who's this guy? Well, I'm your instructor. I've been at Peirce for about 1 year. I was hired in March. Didn't really teach my first classes until last summer of 2016. On-campus classes first in September. I've taught the policing class, criminology class, juvenile justice class, and I know one person who's participated in the meet and greet so far is interested in the juvenile aspect. So I've taught that. I will be teaching criminal courts over the summer and policing and criminology, I believe, again. So I'm interested in a lot of different parts of criminal justice. Where do I come from? I was a police officer for 25 years in South Jersey. So if there's any Jersey folks, I am most familiar with the laws and how things work in the state of New Jersey. However, after I retired, I started teaching criminal justice, and I started working at a campus in Bensalem, which then moved to Levittown, Pennsylvania. And I have become quite familiar with the workings and the ins and outs of the Pennsylvania criminal justice system. Matter of fact, I don't have it handy, but I have a really, really good book that was created by a couple of professors in Pennsylvania colleges on the workings of the criminal justice system. They actually created a course based upon that particular book. It's really cool, and I'll show it to you in a future online meeting, or those of you that come to class, I'll bring it and show it to you. So, like I said, 7 years teaching criminal justice. My prior school was ITT Tech. I don't know if anybody's heard of it, but we had a associate's degree program in criminal justice. Unfortunately, there's a lot of negativity being put out. I think we did a really, really good program. I think most of our students that graduated from the program felt that they got their money's worth, regardless of what you may read in the press and the scams that you see on Facebook. And anybody who was an ITT student who might be here, be very careful about those people that post, get your money back, because all they want, a lot of them are phishing scams, trying to get your information and steal money from you. If you have that issue, you go to the Department of Education, go to your lender. That's the only way you're going to get satisfaction if you're not happy with what you got from that school. But anyway, that's where I came from. I spent 7 years there. I was actually the program chair for criminal justice from September of 2012 until March of 2016, when we were in the process, prior to all the more recent stuff, they had decided to close down the criminal justice program. So my role was no longer needed, as we didn't have sufficient students to justify it, I guess, in their view. But I stayed on as adjunct faculty until the school actually closed at the end of August. And that's when my role increased here at Peirce. And I hope to increase my role here as time goes on. So that's where I came from. I live in South Jersey. I've been in South Jersey for, 40 years? I lose track. 1968 till now. I've been here since then. 50 years, actually. Almost 50 years in South Jersey. But I grew up in Philadelphia, like 8 years. I'd say that most of my time was in Philadelphia. I am 56, going to be 57 years old in the summertime. So, it's like 50 years, 49 years here in Jersey, 8 years, almost 8 years in Philadelphia, because we moved in March of 68. I was actually 7 years old when we moved. So I grew up in the Germantown section, used to walk to school, and I'm not going to say, 10 miles uphill both directions in the snow. That's not the way it was. It was actually more like 4 blocks, but 4 blocks for 6 or 7 year old. In today's times, everybody's fearful of what might happen to their kids. Even here in the suburbs, a lot of these parents, it's crazy. They drive their kids to school. I know that can't happen a lot in the city. Transportation, some people don't have cars. It's just too much of a thing to do that. But I know when I went to my school in Levittown, I used to drive up, was it Robbins Avenue? I think from the bridge. I get Robbins Avenue and Levick Street confused all the time. One goes one way, one goes the other. But you come up that way, and there's a Catholic school on the way up, and there was, at the time when school's opening, there's always like 100 cars outside. Why do everybody's still driving their kids to school? But I walked, rain, snow, sleet, whatever it was. My parents thought I could walk. So I don't remember my parents ever driving to me to school when I lived in Philly. And then when I moved to South Jersey, the school was so far away that we got bused. The school that I went to, because I stayed in Catholic schools, was actually 7 miles away from my house. So we got a bus up the street. I just walked to the bus stop. So I'm married. That means I have a wife. I have one child who is presently at Rowan University in the biomedical engineering program in her third year, hopefully going on to a master's program as well. I am involved in a variety of things outside of work. I was also a volunteer firefighter and EMS person years ago, trained as an EMT. Chief of my local fire department many years ago. So I have my hands in a lot of things. Emergency management is one of the things I'm really interested in. If there's anybody who out there has that interest, Philadelphia was actually hiring for folks. I think that you had to have a bachelor's degree. But you also had to live in the city. I would have jumped on that job in a minute. But you had to actually live in the city. But if you look at Philly.gov, sometimes there's some interesting jobs that pop up that are not necessarily in the criminal justice field specifically, but you could roll into them and have a good time with it. So I left in this thread a really, really long background in history, so there's a lot more rather than taking up time explaining. But again, police officer, 25 years, fire guy, EMS guy, married, one child, in college, living in South Jersey, 8 years in Philadelphia as a kid in the Germantown section. Also, my college, I went to LaSalle. It was LaSalle College, now LaSalle University, also in Germantown, where I got my bachelor's in criminal justice. I also have a master's in the art of teaching that I got from a Mary Grove College in Detroit, Michigan, and a master's in criminal justice that I got from Boston University. So I hope to someday get a doctorate, but that's down the road. So that's all about me. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Make sure you read the syllabus. Those of you who are coming to class, read the syllabus before Thursday. We'll go over it and answer any questions that you have. And anybody who is not attending class, I would like to know. It helps me to prepare better, because sometimes I like to do interactive stuff. I like to do debates. I like to do a lot of different things that might include groups of people. And if I only have one person shows up, then I have to think, okay, what am I going to do with this one person? Because I can't do a debate unless it's me and the student doing the debate, which I don't know. It's good to know how many people so I can plan around those types of activities, because people don't generally love just doing 4 hours of stand-up lecture, and I don't do that. Matter of fact, in most of this course, as in most courses at Peirce, each week is just one chapter worth of material. So even if you do a lecture, it should only be like an hour to an hour and a half, and then the rest you have to build around that material to make it stick, because that's not just the only way to learn. So make sure, if you can, read the chapter, read the syllabus, participate here in the meet and greet, tell me who you are, what's going on, how you doing, If you have any questions, you can ask them obviously in the meet and greet. My phone number is on the syllabus. My phone number is in the my post here in the meet and greet. You can text me. You can call me. It ties right into my house phone, my cell phone, whatever. And again, I look forward to meeting those of you that are coming to class on Thursday night. And the rest of you, I look forward to meeting and interacting with online. I went a little bit over time, and I apologize for that. Everybody have a wonderful evening. It's the second day of spring. That's why I got my short sleeve shirt on. But tomorrow, the third day of spring, is supposed to be incredibly cold. So bundle up. Thank you. Take care.